Welcome to this edition of Immersive Outlook. My name is Pallab. I am the partner and leader for Manufacturing and Operations Consulting of PwC India. We have the CEO of Paperboard and Specialty Paper Division of ITC, Mr. Vadiraj Kulkarni with us today. Mr. Kulkarni joined ITC Agrotech in 1996 and then he moved to Tobacco Division, and then in 2015 he joined ITC PSPD. He has been leading various different functions in ITC so far, like strategy formulation, manufacturing and operations, supply chain, procurement, digital operations, and so on and so forth. In today's discussion with Mr. Kulkarni, we are going to hear his experience and his journey, and we are definitely going to have a lot of foresight and insight which will be useful for all of us. So welcome Mr. Kulkarni to this episode. Thank you very much for your time. My first question to you is that operations management system has undergone a lot of changes in the last 3 to 4 years. If you can tell us about what has been the challenges and what has been the benefits of that.
Yeah, thanks Pallab for having me over. One, I think I would say there are two inflection points the industry is going through, especially those industries which are connected globally, where we are importing certain raw materials or exporting certain goods. We're using a lot of ocean transport. We are using a lot of commodity-based or crude-based kind of chemicals, etc. One was, of course, COVID. I think all of us are familiar with what it brought in terms of unexpected kind of changes, which is significantly brought in complexity in supply chain. How do you ensure that all materials are available at any point of time, despite wherever you're sourcing from globally or within India? We had challenges even moving material from parts of India to another part of India because of obviously a lot of issues like lockdown, transportation issues, truck drivers not being available, etc. Second, it was obviously a geopolitical environment which is there for now 1.5 years, which also we may think that it is affecting only a couple of countries, but I think it is affecting far more because today the supply chains globally are connected, right? So we saw a significant increase in the ocean freight. We saw that certain routes that were not viable at all for some products. We had to relocate our export focus from a country to country B. And you know that we are a B2B business.
Yes.
So depending on how this environment was changing, so we learned two things. One, we always had done a risk assessment based on certain known factors of risks. There could be flood, there could be transport strike, there could be labor unrest and things like that. But we never envisaged that the total globe will be affected by a pandemic like this. One. And geopolitical issues, normally nobody knows when they'll happen and how, and what kind of implications they'll have on the organizations like us who are manufacturing and connected to the globe. So while these challenges have been there, but I think the positive aspect has been that we are wiser, we are smarter in terms of looking at what all risks could happen, strengthening our supply chains, strengthening our sources, keeping people very, very alert and alive to what could happen. So I think our risk management strategies have completely changed, right? The framework has got broader, we have got more variables. We also have people who are smarter now to think on the feet, to look at different kinds of risk scenarios, contingency scenarios, and be better prepared for it. Our supply chain, for example, has become very agile, more than what it was, right? We are a large capacity kind of players, but despite that, I think we've been able to create a lot of excitement around making supply chain far more nimble. And in fact, we've just started a supply chain transformation project just to see how can we be far more customer service oriented than what we were before. I would summarize this whole piece into this answer.
Thank you for this. And do you foresee that similar kind of challenges will continue to come in the future?
I wish I knew. Surely not kind of pandemic kind of situations, but I think there could be a variety of reasons that could affect supply chains, and we are surely getting better prepared for it.
But do you think that we are now better prepared as an industry to handle such situations in the future?
Not only us, but I think even our business associates, the partners, the downstream manufacturers, the upstream suppliers, all of them become much smarter. They're looking at sourcing models, they're looking at China plus one kind of sourcing, and we got some benefit also out of that. But we also have challenges out of that.
Yes, okay. So my next question is then if you can tell us about your journey in ITC. I think this is the only job which you have done so far.
Oh yes. So that in fact people in the current generation, people are very surprised that somebody can spend 27 years in an organization. It's been an exciting journey working, starting as a utility engineer, working in manufacturing, working in supply chain, working in a large division like tobacco, cigarette business, working across multiple factories, different cultures, rising through the ranks in terms of manufacturing sections of the plant, then managing people affairs, and then handling operations for the entire tobacco division, and finally taking a big leap into paper and paperboard business, which is far more competitive and tougher, while it is growing though. And I think this division has given me exposure in terms of business excellence platforms, opportunity to experiment with digital platforms, etc. So it's been an exciting journey.
So very, very encouraging to hear this. ITC PSPD division particularly has been on the business excellence journey for almost last 2 decades. Okay, can you please share us a bit about the whole journey, and also if you have any suggestion for any organizations, asset intensive organizations who are getting into the business excellence journey, and if you can share your suggestions for them.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point, because for somebody like me who's worked in manufacturing focused organization within the manufacturing domain, I think a paper industry, pulp and paper industry, which is integrated with forestry, plantation, downstream processes, and engagement with a lot of customers, sweating the assets was very, very key, right? Also improving the quality table, right? So how do we do? One option is to recruit some best of the managers, the white-collared managers, and push them to do improvements through capital-intensive kind of projects or through some new tools and technologies. But I think this division realized that if you want to have a sustained culture of improvements, we must involve everybody. The business excellence platform that we've been working with PwC for many years now, I think is based on the fundamental assumption or hypothesis that there is always a scope for improvement, one. Two, if the improvement has to happen, it cannot be just a quantum improvement once in a while, right? If innovations have to happen, if improvement practices have to be established, it has to happen every day. How do you make it happen? Managers will come and go. They will retire, they'll get transferred, and all that will keep happening. But if you see the workers, the employees of service providers, they mostly stay with you, right? So if you involve them from day one, of their entry into the factory through a very enabled kind of structure, it will help us to have ideas for continuous improvement and keep resulting into big improvements. So some of the things that to probably our industry colleagues who may be also wanting to start this journey or already have started this journey, a couple of things in my assessment are important is, one, the commitment of top management is very important, not by saying it or a lip service or sending a note or doing a town hall, but in terms of the time that the top management commits, the time that you allot for hearing out what are the issues, spending time on the shop floor with them, also having the right structure in place. We work with PwC, a process-based organization which will enable continuous improvement, so that the issues between sales and production and engineering, production and quality, all these get resolved by standards itself, by standards and structures. Two, I think is that we need to also commit resources, dedicated people, centrally dedicated people at the units who are improvement oriented. At the same time, provide them IT platforms, tools, techniques, financial resources to manage this change. And a very important piece is recognition and rewards. And not at the end of the year, that typically most of the organizations have an ongoing basis kind of recognition and reward scheme or a process which will ensure that people are getting appreciated for the contributions they make. I would summarize these are some of the key enablers. And this has been our experience. I'm sure in a given context, in a given industry, people may have different challenges. But I think broadly, these certainly should help. And I think what has also helped us is that they've been training a lot of people on new technologies, tools like Six Sigma, Green Belt, Lean, VSM. All these are, almost 50-year plus dated in the world. Yes. But I think getting employees trained, getting ESPs trained on these kind of technologies and methodologies is helping us to sustain and grow business excellence kind of journey.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. My next question will be that, as we see that there's a lot of asset-intensive industries coming in India, and of course, government is also pushing for it. What will be your suggestion to the people who are setting up the asset-intensive industry to be successful in the market?
Yeah, first I would say it has to start from design. If you're setting up a new plant, new manufacturing plant, or you're adding new capacities, go with the best in the world in terms of technology. We may compromise, if we go with a lowest cost supplier from here and there, assemble them together, not properly integrated, etc. Also build in good amount of process automation. Because when the process automation gives you data and numbers to track and also analyze and ensure that you're able to improve your performance. Third is you empower people to make an experiments and innovations, so that they do small improvements, innovations, etc. Kaizens, what we call in the Japanese improvement terminologies, so that they bring in some slow improvements in the process, gradual improvements in your processes. What we adopted for example, is to look at using focused improvement projects, kaizens, which is called small improvements, also digital technologies to ensure that you're continuously debottlenecking, certain bottlenecks in your process so that your throughput keeps going up. For example, our pulp mill, without capital investment, we increase the throughput by 20%. Just using digital technologies and getting some people, experts to help us from pulp and paper industry. And that's significant because that is directly going into your bottom line without addition of deployed capital. So I think they can do a lot of things, to improve the process efficiency. And even the business excellence platform has helped us to ensure that the reliability of the plant goes up. Today, some of our machines are operating at the world's best kind of downtimes.
Availability.
We are pushing for more planned downtime so that there is a almost zero kind of unplanned downtimes, and that is helping.
No. So this is very, very encouraging. So as you know that the government of India is pushing to the manufacturing, and they want the manufacturing contribution to the GDP to be going to 25%. Okay. So my question is that, in terms of the, what is your suggestion or what is your vision, which will make the paper industry, Indian paper industry, competitive in the world?
Sure. I think, this has been, I think most of the industries in India are grappling with these, especially high capital intensive industries, high labor intensive, high energy intensive, high water intensive. We are all of that, right? I think one of the things is that we must dream big, which means we must set up large capacity plants. The moment we set capacities in small scale, even if you're able to rebuild them and increase throughput, you'll always be stuck with this small capacity inefficiencies for a very long time, 20, 30 years down the line. These machines can run for 30, 40 years, 50 years if you maintain them well, maintain the assets well, keep periodically doing health restoration, etc. So if you're able to design the capacities bigger, you obviously can't do like what Chinese guys do because the domestic market is not very large. Even if that grows, but still there is a limitation to which how much we can add in terms of capacities. The second thing is, I think you should have a target that, as you mentioned in the earlier question about sweating these assets, reliable machines, reliable technologies, right people, skill them, upskill them, get digital technologies, deploy tools like business excellence kind of methodologies or platform so that your performances are great. Second thing is our quality table. While we have come a long way, I think we have to benchmark to our European counterparts in terms of industry for paper and paperboard. So that will help us to be ahead in the marketplace. And third is the green credentials. A lot of world is talking about carbon intensity, decarbonization, etc. And Indian industry has already started its journey. But if you're able to significantly bring down energy intensity, water intensity, people intensity, as well as bring in more renewable sources of energy, that will also make us competitive. And last but not the least is about having back-end integration in terms of fiber supplies. India is a fiber deficient country, right? And what we have done in ITC is to have massive agroforestry plantations working with small and marginal farmers in the hinterlands, and that will ensure that farmers also get benefit. They are partnering with you in your journey of growth. At the same time, you're able to secure raw material for a long run to come.
Yes. Thank you for this. The next point is, the innovation is a key in the paper and paperboard business. So what's your plan? If it is not confidential, then what is your plan in terms of enhancing your portfolio, the product portfolio, in the short and long term?
Yes, it's a good question. One, at least as far as virgin paperboards are concerned, or premium recycled boards are concerned, or decorative papers are concerned, that we have this large, very, very wide portfolio of paper and paperboards. In fact, globally, there are very few who can supply you a paper from 21 GSM to 450 GSM. Right, we are even going beyond that with the latest lamination, laminator that we have got. Right, given that range is there, we have reached to maximum end users and converters today in the country, and some of them even globally. Right, now the next growth is going to come from a lot of these products which are going to be substituting single-use plastics. And I think, given the government's mandate on stopping the use of single-use plastics globally and including India, we believe that we are really poised to leverage this opportunity. We are setting up our latest in-house coater, a state-of-the-art coater at one of our plants in India. We already have launched next-gen products 3 years back. You had heard of what is called as Philo series.
Yes.
For various applications of food service and things like that. We are exporting them, and I think with this new technology coming in, with the kind of expertise we've developed in the last 2-3 years, I think we are really poised to grow big in the plastic substitution kind of product space. Fiber is renewable. and hence it completely is a green product compared to plastics, which has huge disposal issues. And I think that's our story. We are doing a lot of innovation, some of which we've already done, and we are doing, as I speak, we are doing more and more innovations in this space.
This is very encouraging to know about the Philo series and the Omega series that you mentioned about. And this is actually helping in terms of replacing the single-use plastic. And the government has also banned, SUP last year. Okay, so do you see that the demand for this kind of an, paper products, which are replacing the single-use plastics, are actually increasing by leaps and bounds in India?
Yeah, there are two things. One, given that there are corporates, MNCs, brand owners who are very committed to this, that they want to replace plastic gradually if they have alternative solutions which works for them and also are cost competitive, right? So I think the industry, the paper industry, has a huge opportunity to do this. We are able to develop solutions, products, but they have today at a premium, right? So over a period of time, I think there will be a larger adoption. We are gearing up in terms of capacities, people, resources, etc. in sales, product development, market development, as well as technical capabilities, technologies, etc. And I think we are, while it is growing, like for example, we doubled our volumes from last year to this year.
On that segment?
Only in that segment. I think probably in the next 5 years, it may become 5 times, 10 times, right? If everything goes well.
Okay, great. So we know that ITC is very much focused to build the sustainability and eco-friendliness. And you are a little while back you were mentioning about the Afforestation drive, okay? And the government of India has set a target of increasing the carbon sink by I think 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent by 2030. And your Vadrachalam unit has very encouraging to see that it has got the Green Co Platinum Plus rating. Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the whole afforestation and how is it going and what are the innovative things that you are doing in the afforestation?
Yeah. We started almost 30 years back in terms of developing India-specific clones to suit its soil and agroclimatic conditions, right? And till now, we have done afforestation of more than 900,000 acres, right, across India, right? And I think the way we are growing in terms of capacities, we want to double it in the next decade, right? That's one. So how do you do it? In India, obviously, we have to work with farmers to encourage them to raise plantations so that after 3-4 years, the industry can consume them. So we're working on different models. So we are working on new clones. In the last 3 years, we have, in fact, last 3 years, we have released 10 new clones of eucalyptus, suabula, and casuarina. And these clones are high yielding, can work in multiple soil condition kind of situations and agroclimatic conditions India has. We have in South, we have in Odisha, we have expanded to Odisha and Chhattisgarh. We are doing in North India now. Right, I think so we come with different models of working with farmers. We work with our Mission Sonalakal project to work with extremely marginal small farmers. We work directly on agroforestry kind of plantations directly as a business with various farmers who are willing to invest and do this. We provide saplings almost at nil cost, at a subsidy. We have a state-of-the-art highly technology focused clonal production center near Vadrachalam, and I think with all these interventions we are really poised to raise a large amount of plantations working with farmers.
Great. Any specific input, because there are many other industries who are trying to work with the farmers on different issues. Any specific input for them to get the conviction and buy-in of the farmers?
I agree, that's a very important challenge. I think farmers, rightly so, will only believe if their co-farmers are making good money, right? Yes. I have a neighbor who is growing cotton. I have another neighbor who grows paddy. Why should I raise eucalyptus plantations, right? So I think the trick is to ensure that there is a market linkage, assured market linkage for all this. 2 is that we provide quality inputs, saplings, also provide them agri-technical services. In fact, we have launched a mobile-based platform to share best package of practices to farmers. We do soil test for them, free soil test. We tell them which clone suits which soil, and they're seeing the neighbors, the villagers, neighboring villagers, transporting tons and tons of wood to our factory for the last 30 plus years. So obviously they get confidence, and we have a very large scale engagement, intense engagement between our plantations and extension services team with the farmers. So it's by word of mouth. We have a recognition of farmers who follow better practices. We monitor the yield per acre. We give them inputs. We are also doing IoT, digital-based kind of interventions with the farmers, saying that if you do A, B, C, D, your yield will be better. So I think it's a very, very long-term commitment, a partnership rather than looking at farmers only as suppliers. And that's what works. And I think it has worked across ITC businesses wherever field is there, wherever farmers are there, be it tobacco business, be it this business, be it agri business, all of them. So I think that is a trust and confidence that we as industry have to gain. And then only this whole scheme will work.
Yeah, I definitely pick up the point when you mentioned about the partnership. It's not you viewing them as a supplier, but as a partner. My next question is that, your division is collaborating with the Invest India. And I think you are encouraging some of the startups in the area of replacing the single-use plastics and in the sustainability in a development area. If you can tell us a bit more about it and what is the success we have got so far, or do you believe that the young India is actually going to help us in terms of achieving this sustainable goal?
Yeah, I think yes. We came across this platform called Startup India and Invest India. I think a pretty good platform where certain challenges that we have, or we want to change the way we think, or we want to improve the way we are doing, we reached out to this and we had a lot of interest and we evaluated various ideas. We've shortlisted some ideas and we're working with these startups who need scale, who need market linkages, who need probably some support financially to help them to come up with these ideas so that we can integrate those with our solutions and then scale up. I think it's a lot of interesting startups in India and lots of exciting ideas people are working with. For us to do that, will take a lot of time and, requirements of resources and time. Whereas these guys already have some ideas which are about to be mature. And I think we can take them on board and help them to really scale up.
Any success story on this front?
Right now, it's still under, it's confidential and we're evaluating them.
Sure.
So hopefully we'll have some success stories soon.
Sure. So you have been the pioneer in ITC PSPD on the digital transformation. And nowadays digital transformation is the buzzword for any industry that you talk about. Okay. So can you share us a bit of your digital transformation journey? And my specific question would be that now, how are you using technology to remain ahead of the curve?
Yeah, I think it's been ITC in general and paper business in specific has been always leading in terms of best technologies, right? In terms of manufacturing technologies, energy technologies. We upgrade our boilers for higher efficiency. We just upgraded our recovery plant from old solar recovery boiler technology to high pressure recovery boiler, the first in India, and that is helping us to save 1.5 lakh tons of coal per annum. That's also improving our renewable energy share for ITC by 6%, right? These are significant investments, very, very large investment going there, right? So in addition to that, we thought that, as you rightly said, Industry 4.0 and all these technologies have been a buzzword for the last 10 years. We thought we must experiment and learn what are these happening. And in ITC, we believe that it is not a fad. We just, get some technology and try out. No. We said we must establish a business case. We must also test out these technologies. So in 2018, we did a proof of concept one in our paper machine and one in our pulp mill. We invested X and we got 4X in terms of returns. So that is amazing. Then we went for a large scale implementation of digital transformation, hired some of the best consultants and experts, worked with the industry experts and actually started seeing a lot of benefits. We use IoTs, we use AI, ML, we use lots of business analytics kind of tools. And we started implementing them large scale across our factories. And I must tell you, in the last 3 years, we've got a 2.5% EBITDA growth only through these digital interventions, right? And so we have also, in the journey, we also set up Industry 4.0 Center of Excellence, which has got around 7 bright engineers today who are experimenting, exploring new technologies, working with best partners globally and in India, and getting them on board, doing proof of concept kind of testing, and then implementing large scale and gaining, because you have a lot of scale, we have a lot of efficiency improvement opportunities. We are pushing throughputs up, we are reducing chemicals consumption, we are reducing wastages, and I think that's really helping us to get more asset or sweats, sweat our assets more, and as well as giving us better bottom line contributions.
So as you know that many of the industry players, not only in your industry but in the different industries, they are also trying to do this digitalization or the digital operations or all these things, Industry 4.0. What is your suggestion for them? How can they be successful? Because in many places we see success stories, many places not so, successful stories kind of a thing. So what should they do so that they are successful? Because you seem to have got a huge amount of success to this initiative.
So far, yes, and we have bigger ambitions to grow even beyond this as the technologies keep evolving. I think we must see what is the potential application of these technologies in our operations. Do you want to do in manufacturing? Do you want to do in agri? Do you want to do in sourcing? Do you want to do in supply chain? Do you want to do in sales network and optimization? You have to choose where there is a potential, right? You just can't get some technologies and try out. Yeah. Two, we must also see that we must commit. There will be some early failures. In fact, one of the experts told me that don't take up any proof of concept testing only for one project because it may fail too. Then you will junk the technology rather than the issues that you may have in the process, or people challenge management issues. So we said we will do two. So one will surely succeed. In our case, both succeeded, right? That is we were lucky, and maybe we chose the right projects. But I think once we do that, there is a significant potential possible in our business. We must support it with right resources. Put some people, give them money, give them capex, approvals. Let them try, let them fail, let them experiment. And once they start gaining success, you recognize their efforts. You celebrate early successes. Then you form a team, a dedicated team. We saw in some of the peer companies globally and in India that people are putting a lot of resources behind it. And then it's about skill building. Just by, if you keep outsourcing all these digital transformation to some consultant, experts or technology solution providers, they'll make money, but we will not learn. Yes. So we must have a vision to internally develop these capabilities, get these people on board, right? And then invest in building their capabilities. For example, we are setting a digital lab very soon for the ITC group. And so do that. Imagine the kind of learning a lot of our managers will have, a lot of our people have. We'll have to democratize learning. We have tied up with some online digital learning platforms, and we have targeted 25% our managers, workmen, all of them will be digital savvy in a specific period of time. So a lot of these things will go well, and obviously we'll have to provide a lot of top management commitment to make these work.
Okay. Great insight. So my last question is, we have been on the business excellence journey, whether it is business excellence or whether it is the digital intervention, you are the pioneer, okay? So you must be, upgrading your skill of the workers and the managers. What are you doing to, upgrade the skills, so that whatever changes and mega changes that you have brought in the operations and manufacturing, those have been successful?
Yeah, I think yes, you're right. In a typical organization, when you see some successes, you close them as projects and move on. Yes. We didn't want to look at this as a project. We wanted to look at it as a program. We wanted to look as an ongoing program which can help us to do a sustainable digital transformation that keeps happening. Like business excellence, it doesn't stop, it keeps happening. Then when we set up an Industry 4.0 Center of Excellence, a structure that directly reports to me as the business head, which means that is the kind of importance we are giving it to digital. We're not just giving it to some function to say manufacturing or sales that you manage this, right? Second, we did a lot of interesting things in terms of exposing this Industry 4.0 Center of Excellence resources who are largely engineers to a lot of technologies through conferences, workshops. We send them abroad. We send them to factories which have implemented digital. We send them to incubation centers. We send them to digital labs across the industry, right? Then we said that we did an evaluation of various digital learning platforms available in the country today, and we got these people enrolled into it. We started doing internal train the trainer concept. Every year we will identify 30 managers through a test, nomination, and these industry center of excellence people, they will train them. And there will be test certification, there will be testing, etc. And also recognition of those efforts, topper, 1, 2, 3, and things like that. Now we have tied up with the digital learning platforms for massive kind of learning programs. So also ITC many years back had tied up with open courses with a lot of reputed universities globally. That also people are using that platform to learn. And as I mentioned, we are setting up a digital lab very soon for immersive kind of learning opportunities with the new technologies. And we have mandated our Industry 4.0 Center of Excellence that KRS for them is not just about doing projects and training. They also must experiment with new technologies every year. So we've provided some budget to them saying you experiment, you learn, and let us start testing them through proof of concept, and then we can scale up. Also, to again show our commitment, demonstrate our commitment, we have recruited Chief Digital and Information Officer for the first time in our business. And he's also going to go, he's just joined recently and he's going to work with me. He comes from the industry experience of IT and digital. So I think he can also bring in a lot of value to otherwise a traditional organization like ours.
So there's a lot of new initiatives and new thinking which I can see happening here. So I think it was a great interaction with you, great discussion with you, and we have learned a lot of things today. I'm thankful to you for your time in spite of having the very busy schedule. Thank you so much, Mr. Kulkarni, for your time, and we have really gained a lot. The fraternity has really gained a lot through this interaction.
Welcome. Thank you.